Hi, it's Chesh, or the Cuddly Kobold, whichever is better for you. I'm hoping that you're having a great day, evening, morning, whatever time it is, as you're sitting down to watch this sketch that I'm doing, or rather, full piece. And yeah, this piece is dedicated to the beach and all my beach mamas out there. I want to preface this by saying that I'm extremely vitamin deficient. Like, I'm vitamin B, D, and iron deficient. And this is because I cannot eat a lot of foods, and the foods that I do eat do not get processed in my body the way it should. So I just don't absorb vitamins the way I'm supposed to. So I'm very vitamin deficient. But anyway, I want to say that I miss the beach. Like, seriously, I miss it. And here's the thing, I hate the ocean. Like, I do not like water, I do not like fish, I do not like seafood, I don't like any of it. So I never get into the water, but what I do enjoy doing is lying under some shade and like working on a project or knitting or reading while the sun and the breeze just blow over me and my toes in the warm sand. So fun. My mom and stepdad used to do a trip yearly to New Smyrna, which is a beach in Florida, and with another family, and they had this house right on the beach. We could just walk to the beach from there, and they had everything you could need, including like a little canopy, chairs, stuff like that. And we would borrow it, and we went down to the beach. Now I've only went with them once, and it was the last time they went. They haven't gone since. But I went, and I was feeling extremely bad. Like, my bones were achy, my joints were achy, and I felt tired and down and stuff like that. And it's mainly because my vitamins were very low and they were having a hard time getting it to come up, even though I was taking vitamins and stuff like that. Um, so I went to the beach with them, even though I really didn't feel like it, but I kind of was like, you know what? This may be my last chance to go with them to the beach. So I went, and yeah, it was wonderful. Florida is something else. Like, I would not live there because of who I am. But uh, going to the beach that one time, their houses are so colorful. Like, pinks, greens, yellows. I've never seen such colorful houses, but for the beach, it makes sense. Um, and the beach was just so wonderful. It was kind of crowded, but because we were right off from the beach, we could go early and get a spot before the crowds came. So we would get very good spots. So that was nice. And I just sat there and I knitted an entire scarf. We were there, I think, for like 2 weeks, which honestly was a bit too much for me. Vacation for me is like 3 or 4 days and then I'm done. Then I want to go home. And yeah, I was like itching to go home, but I really enjoyed it. The beach is really fun. That being said, I did turn into a lobster. I don't tan. Some people uh, when they, I just lost my train of thought. Some people when they sunburn, it turns into a tan, or they just tan and they don't sunburn at all. Not me. I just burn and then it goes back to being pasty white. There is no light at the end of the tunnel for me when I'm sunburnt. I'm just sunburnt. So yeah, that's always fun. And yeah, and one thing I unlocked is my fear of piers. Yeah, so I'm actually terrified of water, because I can't swim. So if I get into deep water, I'm just gonna drown. And we went to this restaurant on the pier, and my family wanted to go to the end of the pier to see some dolphins. And they tried to get me to go, but I took one step on that pier and I just froze. I was so scared that I couldn't do it. I had to back up and be on the ground. So I now know I cannot go on boats or piers because I just freeze with fear. I don't know, maybe if I had a life jacket, I wouldn't be so scared. But yeah, going out there by myself with nothing on to protect me from drowning uh, fills me with a lot of fear and dread. So I will not go into the ocean. Uh, I just like sitting on the beach. Um, I'd really like, now that I'm living in Arizona, I'm nowhere near a beach, which I wasn't whenever I went to Florida Beach. I think it was like something like a 10-hour drive for us to get to Florida Beach, um, which is a lot. We did it in one go because that's the way my family does it. We don't stop, we just go. So we got there really late. But I'd like to go to California Beach and hang out on one of their beaches. They have all kinds of different kinds of beaches, but I want to go to a nice sandy one so that I can just be in the sand. But also, we'd have to get a canopy and stuff like that. It's a real hassle, so I don't know if I'll ever go back to a beach again just because I don't live near one and it'd be a real trip to go to one. And then you got to figure out what else you're doing on the trip. So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe someday I'll make it back to the beach. Another thing I wanted to talk about is my art progress. So, when I was young, college age, and I was in college taking art classes, I had the goal of becoming a cartoonist. I wanted to be a illustrator. And I thought that my anime style was the goal, or at the very least, have a more painterly kind of realistic style because that's what they sell in the college that I went to. I didn't go to college for art, I just took art electives. I went to college for business management because, as any artist knows, the hardest part about being an artist is managing a business and that and taxes because you are more than likely self employed as an artist, and taxes suck as self employment. I should know. I was a nanny and I was self employed and had to do self employment taxes in California. So, yeah, that's fun. Anyway, I always thought that that was the goal and that's what I was reaching for. But, and I used to do that. I used to do a painterly anime style. But as I've gotten older, I've discovered that goals change, styles change. And now my brain just doesn't work the same as it used to. It's not as patient. It doesn't see things the way it used to. It sees things a lot more colorfully and simplistic. So I adopted this art style that I currently have, which I really enjoy it actually. It's kind of like a mix between cartoon and real anatomy because I really enjoy drawing bodies, not like dead bodies, like just the anatomy of a woman. I really enjoy drawing the shape of women of different sizes and makes, although I have noticed a pattern and I'm trying to get out of it by drawing different body shapes. Um, so yeah, I really like exaggerated cartoon bodies, is where I'm going with my art style. I think it's real fun, to really exaggerate a body shape. Like if they have a small waist, I'm going to make it that much smaller where it looks like she could snap in half. If they're a little bit chubby, I'm going to make them a little bit more chubby. Little more shapely. Like if they're a pear shape, I'm going to exaggerate those shapes into more of a pear shape. Because when they say a body is a certain shape, most of the time they're not actually that shape. They kind of resemble that shape, but they're not actually shaped like pear shape, apple shape, hourglass, um, stuff like that. But in cartoons, you are exaggerating that shape for artistic reasons, and I really enjoy that. Um, I try not to delve into stereotypes though, because sometimes they can be quite racist. So I really try, and I don't do much skin tone people. Usually my cartoon characters have like orange skin, blue skin, red skin, which I know they say Native Americans have red skin, but you know what I mean. It's like the actual shade of red. Um, Yellow skin, stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I try not to do skin tones. One of my book characters, whose name is Pearl, she is a bat person. And by a bat person, I mean she's literally a bat. She's a bipedal bat. That's the size of a person. And when I think of her with a fluffy afro like hair. Now, does that make her African American? Not really. She's a bat. She has no, like, humanoid. The only humanoid feature she has is probably her eyes and the fact that she's bipedal. She stands up and walks like a human. So if someone were to ask me if she's African American, I'd probably say no, she's a bat. Just as if someone would ask me if the main character, Cordelia, is white, I'd say no, she's a wolf. So, yeah, she's a werewolf to be exact. So I guess she does have a human side. But in my world, werewolves are more wolf than they are human because it's saturated in magic and they're constantly in an in between state. So she has like a wolf snout and ears and tails and stuff like that. So she's a little bit more human than Pearl is, which is just a literal bat, fruit bat person. Although Pearl is modeled, her nose is modeled after an insect eater bat. But I don't want to draw insects, her eating insects, so she's a fruit bat. She can also eat other food, but she prefers like fruity stuff and sweet stuff. So yeah, character design is very interesting. I'm trying, like, Pearl is more squat and plump, and Cordelia is tall and lean. So they're quite the couple. I finally landed on a design for Cordelia. I may do a speed paint of her later, her and Pearl. But we'll see. But yeah, style changes, and that's okay. Don't be afraid to change. Um, because that's just human nature. We change. Like, people are like, oh, you need style, a sellable style, and you need to stick to that style. Well, you know, sticking to the same style is alright. But if you don't ever branch out, you're going to get stagnant. You're not going to grow any. You're not going to learn any. So, you should always do the style that you love, but also try out different styles as well. Grow, learn, be a tree. Although trees are notorious for growing slowly and live a very long time, so maybe not be a tree. Maybe be something faster. Well, thanks for joining me on this video. I hope you have a good day, afternoon, morning, whatever it is, and thanks for listening to me ramble. I hope, bestie, that you have a wonderful life, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Subscribe if you like this video. Bye.